Well, Arma, basically we're here in Kuala Lumpur on the Global Investigative Journalism Conference. How can the African countries learn from this conference to now address issue of transparency and accountability?
Well, this place is an amalgamation of talent across the journalism world, and talent not just in journalism but in investigative journalism. So you see all sorts of techniques that are being used, all sorts of contemporary techniques, what this modern age requires to do an effective investigative journalism is right here in this building. And for Africa, we have mushrooming democracy where we have dictatorial governments, we have democracies that are not proper, we have institutions that are not strong. This is the place to come and hone talent. This is the place to learn, because journalism itself is dynamic. And so when you come here, it's an opportunity for you to learn and to take back what you have learned to the continent to make a meaningful impact. Journalism is not an island. We learn every day. New techniques come. New dangers, we are exposed to new dangers. It is when we meet our colleagues here that we are able to go through the nitty-gritties, the issues that are worrying us. We table it here, we know who the common enemy is and how to fight that common enemy.
That is essential threat to journalists, particularly investigative journalists or investigative journalism in Africa. Coming from Ghana, and you had a lot of investigations and a lot of even threats, as you mentioned earlier. Wouldn't you think that this kind of threats and some legislation are impediments towards democracy in Africa?
Well, like I've always said, journalism is a hot kitchen. If you do not have the energy, you get out. Clearly, threats would always be there. And I think that every other job, the police people, the military, and all other people on the continent face threats. Yes, journalism is right in your face, right in your eyes. But I don't think that we have the luxury to keep thinking or to keep sermonizing about threats. We've got to fight. No one would jump into Africa to fight for our purpose. It is Africans who must develop the capacity to do it. And let's not forget, posterity will not forgive us if we refuse to fight, because fathers before us have fought. And that's why we have our current democracies. So yes, the threats will exist, the issues will be on, but we have no room. We have to fight for our democracy because it's for our children and our children's children.
Data protection laws and also cybersecurity laws in various African countries it's a kind of impediment to investigative journalism. How do we get it right in Africa?
We will never get it right in a day. We ought to realize that these things are usually done with time. We have to push the frontiers of our democracy. Europe, as you see today, did not just get there. They have 400 years of democracy. Africa has maybe 60, 70, 80 years. So I think that these problems will be there. It's up to us to stand up and fight. It's up to us to stand up and push the frontiers of our democracy to ensure that indeed we are able to establish this freedom of information acts and freedom of expression statutes that will ensure that our enjoyment of democracy becomes not only in words but becomes practical to the average people in our country.
Now, how do we now look at all the issues surrounding our respective environments in Africa to make sure that whatever we are doing, that we hold our government accountable and also fight corruption, bearing in mind that a lot of issues are going that whenever you try to unravel some of the issues surrounding, bad governance in Africa, then you face, litigations and also certain encumbrances that will jeopardize your work.
Like I have said already, Europe didn't just get it in a day. There definitely will be problems, but should we say because of those problems we have given up? Hell no. We have to keep pushing the frontiers of our democracy. People will die, it's clear, and people die every year. Journalists will die, patriotic citizens will die for the restoration of that power, for the restoration of that energy that will take our countries where they should be. So I don't want to look in the face of the problems and say we should give up. I think this should not induce in us a sense of complacency, but instead push us towards fighting harder to ensure that our democracies are sound in our various countries.
It's a pleasure talking to you, Anas Aremeyaw Anas of Tiger Eye, Ghana.
Thank you very much.